Circuit Corp, how can I help you? No. No.
Salaban? Salaban friend? Salaban?
We have no dealings with the exchange.
Uta tuta solo?
No. Could you hold, please? I'm getting another call. Everything's under control. Situation normal. What happened? We had a slight weapons malfunction, but everything's under control now. We're all fine here now. Thank you. How are you? We're sending a squad. Negative. We have a reactor leak here now. Give us a moment to lock it down. Large leak, very dangerous. Who is this? What's your operating number? Boring conversation anyway. Luke, we're gonna have company! Not unless you can alter time, speed up the harvest, or teleport me off this rock. That's not true. That's impossible.
Search your feelings. You know it to be true.
Thank you for holding.
Star Wars. Yes, Star Wars. The epic space opera that wowed moviegoers for generations. Thanks to this iconic trilogy, we have all the neat special effects we see in Hollywood today. Some good.
If Baggins loses, we eat it whole.
Some bad. And some that blow your mind while simultaneously making you wonder why so much money was spent on such a ridiculous production. Star Wars was so popular that people saw it in the theater multiple times. There was no VHS back then, so if you were willing to pay to see something in the theater again, it was something special.
I'm your father, Luke. Give in to the dark side of the Force, you knob.
He saw Jedi 17 times, eh?
When George Lucas first created Star Wars, 20th Century Fox, ever the poor decision maker, didn't think the film would be popular enough to make any extra money off of. So they let Lucas keep all the merchandising rights to the franchise.
Boy, did that shoot them in the foot.
Lucas went on to make Star Wars toys, Star Wars clothes, Star Wars accessories, Star Wars books.
Spaceballs the t-shirt, Spaceballs the coloring book, Spaceballs the lunchbox, Spaceballs the breakfast cereal, Spaceballs the flamethrower. That kids love this one.
There are even some Star Wars board games published. One of them that comes to mind is the one with the accompanying VHS tape that'll appear on this show one day, and the other one being the Battle of the Sarlacc Pit game that we're going to look at today. Battle at Sarlacc's Pit is a card-driven board game that takes place on a full 3D setup. I got this copy at a garage sale for 60 cents, and it wasn't in the greatest shape. So to keep the barge intact, I used this Lego structure. Also, the figurines for some of the characters are missing, so say hello to your new stand-ins for Luke Skywalker, Chewbacca, Nikto, and Boba Fett. Replacement pieces aside, the remaining figures are built with varying degrees of stylization. The Gamorrean guards look the most accurate, mostly because their features are so big and exaggerated to begin with, so it's easy to mold them to scale. Jabba the Hutt doesn't have much detail. He's mostly a plastic blob with eyes. Finally, the heroes look like caricatures of themselves. You can tell who's who, but there's not a lot of detail here. One of the cool parts of this game is the fact that it's on a 3D model of the barge, so when you knock a guard off, they actually fall into the pit. This single element is just so fun for me. Hold on, this game is inaccurate. How? I mean, yeah, I know Princess Leia is depicted as a fighter instead of a slave, and Jabba's on the edge of the ship instead of on the inside, but it's a game. You gotta take some liberties to... There's no beak. What? The Sarlacc has tentacles and a beak. This is just a hole in the ground. No, that hole in the ground is actually the mouth of the Sarlacc. It's got teeth and everything. But it's just a hole in the ground. It's not even scary. It's just ridiculous. You're ridiculous. Get out of my house. Fine. The object of the game is to push all the Gamorrean guards off the ship before taking out Nikto and Boba Fett, and then finally pushing Jabba the Hutt into oblivion.
Nobody kills Boba Fett. He escapes because he's a badass. Also to canonize all the fanfics about him.
Get out of here! Gameplay is pretty simple. Each player is given 4 cards. At the beginning of your turn, play a card and move that number of spaces, or follow the card's instructions. At the end of your movement, draw another card to bring your hand back to 4. If you end your turn next to a guard, this card is what determines if you win or lose the struggle with it. Drawing a number or a force card means you knock the guard into the pit. Anything else indicates a loss, and you're sent back to the start space, or the detention bay. However, drawing a Jabba the Hutt card means something different entirely. Drawing a Jabba the Hutt card allows a player to move Jabba to any of the gray spaces on the bow of the ship. If Jabba sits on any of the spaces at the edge of the platform, he intimidates the players that stand on that column of the board. On their turn, they can only play a force card to move. If they don't have a force card or don't want to use it, they can always move back 1 space on their turn. The game goes until all the guards are defeated for 1 point each. Afterwards, Nikto and Boba Fett are killed for 2 points each. Only then can someone defeat Jabba the Hutt by standing next to them on the board and playing their force card. If they don't have a force card, they can draw for one. If they don't draw one, they're sent to the detention bay. Once Jabba's defeated, players tally up their scores. Whoever has the most points wins. All in all, Sarlacc's Pit is a simple game. A little too simple if you ask me. I mean, it's all luck of the draw, so there's really no skill involved, and the only way to thwart your opponent is by either switching places with them or putting Jabba in their column. So at best, it's just a kid's game, nothing more. I'm the Cartographer. Join us next time as we map out more secrets of the board and card game world on the Gamer's Atlas. Thanks for watching. If you like what you saw, why not subscribe? And go like my Facebook page to see next week's episode today. You'll be glad you did.
And what's with Lucas selling out to Disney? That's gonna ruin the franchise!
But they didn't ruin Marvel.